So our program, Beading101, has these flip charts. So this is the beginner sample. You get bead soup and you get a button, and it's teaching the technique. And so how it works is the kids, this is part of their kit, they get a flip chart, and we just piloted this with my senior students, and now we're moving it into the junior teachers being able to do it themselves and then add it to their classrooms. So we've had to move online, but regardless of whether it's online or not, level beginner and level progressing, because we're going with the middle years levels, we kind of want kids to be at level P before elders come in or they start learning from elders. We are hoping to use the elder budget to have the kids see videos from elders, but there's lots of online stuff that I can link. So to go back to beginners, so if you're a beginner, you have your name, you come in, it tells you what you need in your sample kit, and remember your growth mindset. And you have to watch all of these videos first, all of which are made, and I will put a link to the forms. So I record them on YouTube or TikTok, and then I insert them into a Microsoft form, and so that way I can see which kids have interacted with each video, so I can track them and give them a mark, because I am doing this right now as part of an actual course. And then later on we might develop it along with some other resources. I'm hoping that Indigenous teachers will use this and incorporate it into the different grade levels. This is strictly a skill course right now, and it's meant to be incorporated into Indigenous art history and history of the fur trade. But then they have skill building tutorials, so how to thread a needle, how to knot and secure threads. I did all of those on TikTok because they're only 1 minute, and kids really like TikTok, so that kind of worked, and I'll include one of those. Then they have their process, so sorry for that. So because they're doing a button, they're learning single needle backstitch, and every time they have one of these symbols, that means that there is a video that corresponds, that goes along with it. And this is basically what they're doing. So they go through all the levels, and it shows them how to sew on the button. They do all that first, and then there's a reminder about independent problem solving. You know, like, oh no, it didn't work. Find the tutorial, try and finish it first. And at the end of it, they are not a beginner anymore, and they pin their sampler here. This is their sampler, so that I can see that this student has tried and done the basics. And of course they mess up, but that's what we do it on embroidery thread. And what I spent your money on was moose hide. So on level 2, and again, I'm not like breaking any Indigenous kind of like, I'm not teaching an Indigenous thing. I'm not Indigenous. Like, I'm teaching backstitch, which isn't traditional teaching. So in level P, progressing, this is where they get to make a gingerbread person. Now, this is a sample that they did where it's a genderbread person. So you can see what they did, and it's quite tight beading actually. And they did it all using one stitch, which is fine. And they can do it, and this is what the moose hide's great because of the smell of it, the history of it. We talk about hide making depending on the grade level. We can get into the fur trade and things like that. But this again is a skill building program, right? It's about building manual dexterity. And so when you go, it's the same basic thing as the other one. You've got to review your videos. They've all got the backstitch, and then there's things about how to do single needle stitch, double needle, curve stitch, and brick stitch edging. Those I'm hoping to get Indigenous creators to do, because I'm just teaching them a single needle backstitch. And this is how they're progressing. So say a kid's in grade 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, it doesn't matter. They can be anywhere along the spectrum. But they are making the gingerbread person, and they have to show me the skill in person or on camera or video chat, because I had to change it to that. And then it says do the next technique. So the idea is that they're supposed to be creating this using 3 or 4 different techniques. This person didn't hasn't finished because they would be doing like an edging technique. But that's kind of where your money went, beads and moose hide. And then when they're done this level, they take a picture of their work and show it off, and then they move on to M, which I'm still creating. So level M is them doing like a much more complicated pattern. Again, not a traditional indigenous one. We're using the Bead This in Your Style challenge, which is open to all beaders. And then level M is when they create their own patterns. And along the way, we're hoping to have elders interact with kids at any time we can, but right now this is sort of where we're at with it. So by the end of the school year, I'm hoping, I've been talking to the grade 7 teachers, and we're going to get more junior teachers doing this. So the creation of the program into something that can be incorporated into every grade level works, because in visual arts, in every single grade level, there's a whole line about challenge with new materials, and this falls under that outcome regardless. But it's not meant to be taught in isolation, because that would just be the tip of the iceberg. Engagement without Indigenous people in it is false and shouldn't happen. So having Indigenous teachers do this and EAs, and having Indigenous knowledge keepers involved is essential to this program. It can't just be like me doing it. Although right now at this level, it is me doing all of the videos for that. But then at the higher levels, we're hoping to get elders to do videos with us. But because of COVID, it's been a bit crazy. And I did have some videos from elders last year, but the audio on them was really bad. So yeah, I'll also include an example of the TikTok stuff. So